Okay, so here's where we welcome you to an outside broadcast, DBS Radio at Fortune Hotel. And we are here for an event organized in collaboration with the Dominica Bureau of Standards. And DBS Radio, happy to bring this to you on both radio and as well on social media. So as I said, we are at the Fortune Hotel and we are bringing you live an outside broadcast organized by the Bureau of Standards with other partners, of course. I will tell you more about that. And Ivona John Baptist Luge welcoming you. So let me give you an idea as to why we are here. We are here for a workshop, CARIMET Metrology for Digital Transformation, and we are being called upon now to stand for prayer so the event can officially begin.
Good and gracious Father, we thank you from near and far. We thank you for the management and staff of this facility, and we thank you for the opportunity to conduct this session. Father, we pray for this country and the representatives of each member state gathered here today. We pray for our leaders, both here and in the region. Eternal Father, we lift this session up to you. Give each speaker here today wisdom and each participant understanding. For this, Father, will facilitate a successful session. Father God, we pray for each person listening to this opening session, both here in the room and via the media, which will gain an understanding of metrology and metrology for digital transformation. Have your way with us, dear Lord. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen. Mr. Eliud Williams, Chair of the National Standards Council, Mr. Javier Arias, President of the Inter-American Metrology System, SIM, Mr. Carlos A. Galvan, and Mr. Aldo Andre Garcia, representatives of the National Metrology Center of Mexico, SINAM, Mr. Nicole Best, Technical Officer, Metrology at the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality, Ms. Erica Carruth, Coordinator of Caribbean Metrology Corporation, CARIMET, presenters and other representatives of the National Metrology Institutes around CARICOM, invited guests, members of the media, the staff of the Dominica Bureau of Standards, other stakeholders. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the CARIMET Metrology for Digital Transformation Awareness Session and Python Training Workshop. I am Mara Abraham, the officer in charge of the Dominica Bureau of Standards. CARIMET for Digital Transformation Sensitization is part of the Inter-American Metrology System, SIM, Metrology for Digital Transformation project. This session brings together participants of the 15 member states of CARICOM and key stakeholders in the sectors touched by metrology. Metrology, not to be mistaken for meteorology, is a scientific study of measurement. This measurement is made by comparing an unknown quantity to a known standard, utilizing a consistent system of units. The system of units is known globally as the International System of Units, or the SI system. We know it in layman's as kilograms, liters, meters, etc. Metrology bolsters customers' confidence in transaction by ensuring that weighing and measuring devices are accurate and functioning as they should. We will now have an address we need to apologize for the absence of our minister, which is the Minister of Trade, on which the Bureau falls under. So we'll have an address now by our chairman of the National Standards Council, Mr. Eliud Williams.
Thank you, Mara, and good morning to all. Ordinarily, I would have had to start by recognizing the Honorable Dr. Vince Henderson, who is the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Trade, International Business, and Energy. He's traveling, and for reasons unknown, the acting minister isn't here, but I was asked to apologize for him. Mr. Javier Arias, President of the Inter-American Metrology System, SIM. Mr. Carlos Calvan of SINAM. Mr. Aldo Adrian Garcia, also of SINAM. Our own Miss Abraham, again, so you get the benefit of being recognized twice. Mr. Nicole Best, Technical Officer, Metrology, or better still, to simply just say CROSQ. Miss Erica Carew, whom I met on my way in here. Other participants, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. In an earlier period, I operated very close to ministers, having been a permanent secretary for several years. However, today, it would appear that I have a temporary promotion as I'm being asked to deliver or to play the role of the Honorable Minister. But first, let me welcome you to Dominica. Many of you, I imagine, would have already visited, and perhaps some have not. I gather from our officer in charge that all 15 member states are represented here, and for this I need to thank CROSQ, and in particular, its Executive Director, Mr. Omar. So, Ms. Carew, when you return, convey our best wishes to him and say that a visit to Dominica is now due. I think he was last here about 2 or 3 years ago, and we always welcome visits from CROSQ. So do tell him that we are waiting to welcome him. So I'm very pleased that CROSQ has chosen, together with the partners, of course, that we must not forget, Dominica, to host this very important workshop to look at how the region can conduct our measurement or metrology services utilizing the latest technology or digital enhancements. Speaking here for the Minister of Trade, it would be interesting to know and to see that today's proceedings will help advance our measurement systems for trade of Dominican products. I think it is good and proper to admit that the phrase digital transformation has become one of the watchwords of the decade. It is now a discussion topic in boardrooms, management meetings, and of course, we will hear a lot more of it here today. But on the other hand, I think we all must be careful that it doesn't become simply another phrase that the average person is going to turn away from. Many years ago, at the village level, we witnessed the police officer arriving often with a few handheld tools and traders reporting to the police station to have their weights and measurements, I think that's what it was called in those days, checked and tested. Today, we have gone past this. But what is significant is that our people are still looking forward to have these weighing and measuring devices checked. And as we go along, we'll speak a little more of that. And I'm sure in your discussions today, that will also be a factor. We are here today and we recognize that in the Caribbean region, we have an aging population. And therefore, not all members of our region, not all our people will be rushing to the new technologies. In fact, I often find it interesting that if you have a device and you've been challenged by it, you pass it on to your grandson or granddaughter, for those of us who have, and for them, it becomes almost as a toy because they love the challenge. But the same is not always true of our older folks. And yet, as metrology professionals, you have that duty to ensure that whatever you do in that period of that transformation, they are not left behind. We know that in transforming the way trade is being conducted, we must make the best use of the available technologies, because after all, this is meant to make things easier. It is meant to make it faster and to ensure that we can have the best results from the speed that these technologies offer. So at the CARICOM level, we are grateful for the discussions on this subject, and not just because here in Dominica we are already advancing in that regard, but it is a significant aspect of doing trade, and indications are it will continue that way. So our work here in national measurement and the work of metrology institutes throughout the region cannot be emphasized enough. And when I speak of the region, we must also now include our neighbors in Latin America, who I understand are faced with the same challenges, because indeed, as I said earlier, anything new will pose challenges to some. I recall perhaps a little while, a generation ago, some 30 years ago, beginning a postgraduate program at our university. Back then, there were some participants who had never put on a computer. How things have changed in those 30 years. And indeed, they will continue to change, because that's where the hope lies. And to ensure that these technologies are used in trade in goods and services, but also to ensure that measurements that we produce are measurements that reflect accuracy. The services you deliver as metrology professionals must always take account of the developments that are occurring close to us. Today, a very common one would be the weather. Climate change, we hear a lot about. Humidity, pressure, mass, temperature. And in Dominica, a very burning subject today has to do with fuel. There are many who believe, in fact I'd go further and say are convinced, that the fuel we pay for is not really of the standard that we are promised, that we are told. Unfortunately for us, with the help of our international partners, very soon we will have the capability to actually do these measurements and provide the confidence that our consumers are looking for. Already we have received equipment that will allow us to measure diesel, and so next we hope very soon we will be in a position to measure gasoline and others. So these are advances that we are seeing throughout, and they are indeed very important. So as we transform the approach as we move towards changing our approach in doing business, we must discuss actively and ensure that those who must benefit from the services understand the science of measurement. Digital transformation, according to experts in the business of metrology, have really three main components. First, there are the processes that we must use, the actual operations that take place, and the consumer experience and relationship. So when we look at processes, we are already talking, as far as measurement services are concerned, at the automation of as many processes as possible. So instead of a client sending an email or calling up a national institute and saying, I need calibration or verification, how much it will cost, we are now talking about an integrated system where the business seeking our services can see what slots are available, book online, and have the confirmation returned to the business in quick time. We therefore move on to the second component, which is really the operations. And if we are to use the same scenario, staying online, using the technology, the client is then able to track the arrival of that technician to the company. It's a facility we have gotten used to, particularly with packages, where I recall something a little bit light-hearted when someone was speaking about FedEx, and another said, well, you can quick pack it by FedEx. Those were the days when Liat, of course, operated the quick pack service. So, really, as I have been saying, the business of measurement is really about ensuring that our people receive the best service in the quickest possible time with great accuracy. So what it boils down to is what kind of customer experience that we can obtain and ensure the customer receives. With a truly digital process, whether it is calibration or any other service offered by the Metrology Institute to the industry or any other sector, the interaction with customers, both internal and external, will be vastly improved and enhanced by the move towards digital transformation. The speed with which your customer can complete a process using an automated system established for such interaction could mean the difference between successful operations or unsuccessful operations. And successful operations will lead to profitability. And of course, in all of this, there is always the concern that in the process we are not leaving anyone behind, neither are we simply using technology and create unemployment in other sectors. And so this takes me to the fact that as we work, we must constantly keep training and retraining our people, as well as look forward to new opportunities so that those who are using the old systems or the systems that served us well are not left behind. So I think the idea of being able to enhance data management aspects of our work must also be very, very important and useful. This must correspond to the tenets of efficiency, which was referred to earlier, accuracy, and speed with which we do business. And these are, of course, all critical factors in metrology. Last year, the theme for World Metrology Day looked at metrology in the digital era. The ISO, International Organization for Standards, posited that digital transformation can expedite the time to market for measurement, products and services, and reduce delays associated with the approval process. Of course, we must also keep in mind there are other aspects that can also cause delays, especially at ports of entry, where if in fact customs do not process with the speed that we expect, the goods still will not get to the point, to the customer, and in the time that we expect. And therefore, this takes me to the point for the need to have effective collaboration with our partners, particularly those in law enforcement and in customs, so that there can always be work that ensures that the confidence that we're trying to build in the system and the accuracy are compatible. So metrology for digital transformation is something that the SIM project seeks to promote, in which innovation, competitiveness, and productivity through enhancing the delivery of measurement services by taking advantage of digital technologies really meant to facilitate the customer. It is meant to facilitate trade. It is meant to enhance business profitability and business efficiency. Here at the Bureau of Standards in Dominica, that is, we have been particularly hard at work in developing the services to serve the export sectors. But conscious, of course, while this is our focus, we are also working closely with our national producers for local and national consumption. So we have done a fair amount of work with our farmers, we have worked with manufacturers, and we expect that will continue, given that the government has had the foresight to ensure that the Bureau can meet these services through the quality of the infrastructure and through the personnel. And only recently we concluded work with the support of the British in quality infrastructure, and we expect any time now that document will be officially passed by Cabinet. And so when we speak about quality, we are also talking about the need to have quality and quality infrastructure used in trade. So we are staying here and doing our best to move in line with the technology, because we have had in partners such as the EU, the CDB, and CrossQ, organizations, entities that are willing to provide the required support in terms of training, in terms of personnel, and today's meeting also is evidence or testimony of this. We certainly value these engagements, and through them we hope to develop quality services that we can be proud of, but more importantly, quality services that will help achieve the fundamentals that were always intended by our government and of course our partners, and that is to have quality in whatever we do, excellence in what we do, so that whatever we trade, whether locally, regionally, or internationally, they are of high quality and they can be something that we can be proud of. So once again, I hope you will enjoy your stay in Dominica and that you can come back in the shortest possible time. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, for this enlightening address. The CARICOM region is under the Inter-American Metrology System, or SIM. The Inter-American Metrology System, SIM by its Spanish acronym, was created to promote international, regional, and particularly inter-American cooperation in metrology issues. SIM is comprised of metrology organizations from the countries in the Americas. It was established in 1979 and was created to promote and support an integrated measurement infrastructure in the Americas. Here to talk to us about metrology for digital transformation is Mr. Javier Arias, who is the president of SIM.
Yeah, good morning all. Thank you, Mara. Thank you, Dr. Williams. I'd like to begin just by saying first congratulations to Dominica Bureau of Standards. First, for that beautiful prayer that we just heard this morning. This is something that we should actually try to implement in all our SIM activities. Thanks a lot for that. Sometimes we forget that we are here because of one Father, and we should always pray to Him. Second, I would also like to say thank you to first Dr. Williams for being here, to the whole Bureau for having us over here, beautiful island. It is not usual to wake up in the morning and see a cruise right next to your window, so this is something that we have to consider. Third, to Erica, our regional coordinator, for having finally done this, and to Nicole, CARICOM coordinator, because he had put a lot of effort into bringing this activity also together. I just want to say a couple of words regarding SIM and the projects that we have been working for the last 2 years, because one thing is to meet over here for 2 days and to work on what we're going to do today and tomorrow, and another thing is to remember why we are here and also what we are expected to do with all that knowledge that we receive over here. So let me see if I can pass my own presentation. There we go. I'm just going to talk a little bit about who we are, which is SIM, why we do what we do, what we're trying to do, and how we are doing this. And actually, to me, the most important thing is the why, which is for all of us, for society, and after that, the what and how. What is through our strategic plan, which we're trying to align together with the transformation in all the digital era, and the how is through what we're doing over here together through cooperation. Mr. Williamson just mentioned, without regional cooperation in small countries like ours, it is really difficult to do something. So we have to work on cooperating among each other. You already heard what SIM is, thanks to Mara, so I guess you know this, but I just want to make sure that we all know that besides the name of SIM, we should always remember that SIM was created to enhance regional cooperation in one field, metrology. And actually in the last couple of years, we have been working in related fields to metrology, so we are giving an extra step further than that. We are divided in 5 regions, we all know that. And this over here, this meeting, although we have some guys from the NORAMED region, which are helping us over here, thanks a lot also Aldo and Carlos, we are focusing on trying to make sure that the CARIMET region, or CARICOM, is also receiving all the benefit that all the other 4 regions get. And of course, we should not forget never that SIMS also works together, or it is only one of the 6 regional metrology organizations in the whole world. We do not work alone. We do not work in a country-based programs. We work in a worldwide-based program, because we have to align whatever we do with the rest of the world, and of course led or guided by the BIPM or the OIML in terms of the scientific or legal organizations. Of course, SIM is not just the name, it's also a lot of people working behind it. This is our actual, for those who don't know, this is our actual 2022-2025 Board of Directors. And I guess the most important person here is Erica, who will be the direct contact for all the CARICOM and CARIMET activities within SIM. And what we're doing over here, as I was saying before, is actually see, besides metrology, because we all work only in the metrological activities, but besides metrology, what else we need to do? And we know for the last couple of years, I would say 20 years, the digital transformation era has been, I don't even know how to say it, has been. It's already here. Because since the year 2000, everything is being done through this, cell phones, everything is digital, we do everything over here. We barely use computers anymore, we do everything over here. So we also have to know that metrology has soon to be able to be done over here. And this is something that we have to be aware of, because all the industries, all the trades, commerce, and everything is going to be done, hopefully not, through cell phones, but it's already been done, because all deliveries and business and everything is being done through cell phones. So we have to make sure also that we are in the future able to at least do some, not to say half, not to say all, but some of our meteorological activities through the digital devices. And this is what we're trying to do or we have been trying to do since the year 2017, 2018, when we started working with the first IDB digital transformation programs, and we were just trying at that time we were trying to see what activities we should be able to do on metrology that could relate to digital transformation. And after a couple of years, now when I think back and I look back over there, at that time we were looking at, okay, what could we do in digitalization in terms of metrology? Now we realize everything can be done via digitalization. So we have to make sure that little by little, not right now, but little by little, all our labs are being transformed into digital activities. After that, I just want to mention this because one of the things that I always say that to me was amazed and I was really impressed by was this is one of the industries in Mexico. We were taking like a workshop over there, and the car industry over there just proved that they were able to become the second largest industry in Mexico. At that time was 2018, 2019, 18% of the GDP by digitalizing the processes. And guess what? All those processes have to be measured. So if the Mexican CENAM, NMI, does not get up to their needs, they're going to be looking for those needs elsewhere, outside of the country. So our jobs in each one of our countries is to make sure that we also provide services for our own industry. We were just talking about oil, right? So we need to make sure here in Dominica and in all our countries that we try to get to the standards of our own needs. Each country is different, we know that, but each country is going to be or is already digitalized, so we have to try to meet those standards. And that's what Mexico has been doing in the past, and I guess that's why Mexico is actually leading the M4DT group. At that time, we started to think, okay, we have to start working on digitalization. So we have been working on that since 2018. I don't want to go too deep on it because I only have like 10, 15 minutes. So, but the important thing over here is that we are ready. Since that moment, we decided that we were going to include digital transformation in SIM's strategic planning. And that's why we are meeting over here, because we have already decided that we need to go ahead and include digitalization in all our processes. And we have been doing that since then. This is part of our activities in terms of strategic planning. And also we were supported by the NIST, the USA NMI, because since 2018, also they developed a program called NIST on a Chip, in which they were planning, or they were seeing or thinking that all the measuring devices should be able to have chips inside to be able to get all the measuring data, so that we could later on get that data together, upload it into a specific area, the cloud, and have control of all the data, so that later we will be able to actually receive and control those instruments through the data and foresee the behavior of those instruments to their own data, because we have the data already safe, kept. That is something that is being worked on right now. Actually, a couple of years later, last year, the U.S. made the CHIPS Act, in which they are investing around 52 billion for U.S. dollars. In Spanish, it will be $52,000 million to try to actually do that, not just in the U.S., but also through the region. Why? Because they have realized that Asia, the Oriental countries, are leading the chip industry, and they are losing ground. So they are trying to actually get together into that business and try to recover those grounds. In terms of our work together with the Europe, also PTV helped us. PTV, as all you know, is the NMI in Germany. 2020, I think it was, they helped us also. They were trying to see what were also our needs in terms of digitalization. And at that time, I have to say, out of this project that we worked for almost a year and a half, we had the best result that we could have in SIM within the last 5 or 6 years. the creation of a new working group. We were used to have working groups only in each one of our quantities. After, as a result of this project, we created the group number 14, M4DT group, which is a transversal group for digitalization processes in terms of SIN. And that group has been meeting since then, and actually is the one that is supporting all these activities. Later on also, we tried to get into the medical area, and after the pandemic, we were creating a lot of digital devices supported by this project with the PTV through all the whole SIM region, including the Caribbean. And finally, we were working on what were those emerging technologies that we should get on. And of course, once again, DT, or digital transformation, was included there. So by that time, in 2019, we knew we had to work really hard on digital transformation. And then that's why we started this new project, which is the one that we are actually working. We have been working since 2022, and we'll be finishing next year, which is methodology for digital transformation to support, quote unquote, mainly health industry, health services in Latin America and the Caribbean, and to address measurement challenges associated with the pandemic as a result of the pandemic in 2020. That project has actually 3 areas or 3 components, 3 segments in which we're going to be working, and I'm going to be talking just a little bit about each one of those so that you understand how what we're doing over here relates to this project. First component will be the information and awareness component. That one, we have been implementing 2 activities. One is, second one, to develop a study and a plan of actions on digital transformation and metrology for health in Latin America and the Caribbean. In that one, actually, we are right now working on 2 proposals. One, to create a list of different medical devices that could be used throughout the region, or that are the most used throughout the region, so that we can have a total control of those devices, and later on try to see if we could calibrate those devices. That is just starting this year. Hopefully we'll finish by the end of next year. And the second one in that same line is also to create, with that list, then trying to create a cloud, regional cloud of instruments, to see how we can relate then those instruments with within the region first, and later on to see if we can relate those to European area, EURAMET. So we have still those 2 steps to do, and that's something that we are starting at the end of this year. Something that we are already finished, or finishing today, actually I have to say, is the awareness sessions. We compromised to actually do 5 awareness sessions, 1 in each one of the 5 sub-regions. We started in May promoting this project in Colombia, in Andimet. Later on, we met in Central America, in Salvador, then in Suramet, in Paraguay, then a couple of weeks ago in Mexico, and right now we're meeting over here to try to cover the 5 regions. And in the 5 regions, we have been talking about what we are doing through the project and the results of this project. So even we are just talking over here, I want you to see all the projects, and if you feel you still can do something besides whatever you're doing right now in terms of digital transformation, which relates to this project, please get in contact to us to see if you can also jump into this project even at the end, or at least get informed how we do it so that you can implement those later in terms of awareness. So second component will be the development of some regional projects. We received like 30 different proposals. From those, we had to show to choose only 4. We chose 4, and these are the ones that I'm going to just be mentioning right now. One is to develop a thermohygrobarometer, which is a little device that actually measures temperature. We're talking about climate. So we measure temperature, we measure humidity, and also we measure pressure. This is one of the samples that we created. I just want to be passing it around. This belongs to SIM, so please make sure you pass it around. You give it back to me, because otherwise Aldo is going to get upset. That's one of the, we had like 10 different projects on those. This is one of the 6 that are already finished. This is all handmade, I should say, by different NMIs. For those who don't know, NMIs is National Metrology Institutions. And this is just one of the already final products. Well, not final, but almost final product, because this still has some tune-ups to do to the project. But this is something, that's why I said at the beginning that we are creating not just metrology, but related products, because this is to design, to control, and develop a new product, which is aimed to be used in any type of laboratory, meaning hospital labs, meaning hospital rooms, or meaning NMI labs, or any industrial labs. So this is something that actually can be done, and is supposed to be a low-cost product, because if we compare this, which the cost, if I'm not wrong, goes from $100 to $200, something like that, with the actual cost of commercial products, they go from $600 to $1,000 and above. So this is something really good, made by our own metrologists. Second product will be to calibrate 3D optical measurement systems. This is for a little bit higher elevated laboratories, because over here what we're doing is trying to get different industrial and medical equipment that actually work with 3D images and verify how these images are created, and if the information we get through those images are actually real good, we're talking about trusting the information, trusting data, trusting measurements. We need to work with reliable data, and this is what we're trying to do, either for medical or industrial processes, trying to make sure that all those 3 images that we receive, the measurements on those are really clear. This is something that are working some labs already. Third one will also be working on a digital time and frequency platform. This is mainly to try to make in a modular time and frequency device that could be hooked up into a computer rack, so that once again you can also put that into any lab. You could connect that remote to any calibrated time and frequency standard, and then within the lab you should be able to also control all your time and frequency activities or measuring devices. And this is also to be, hopefully, will be like a less expensive, low-cost equipment compared to the ones that we have in our labs, which go from cheapest $50,000 to $300,000, right? So this is something we should be working also and finishing by next year. And finally, not just in 3D images, but also in ultrasound, we are also trying to develop for ARDS systems or activities or problems, a device that is going to try to control or make sure actually the measurements in the lungs or pulmonary measuring devices are measured correctly. These are the 4 projects that we're working in terms of piloting projects. This is just the same project. I don't want to work too deep. And the third component, which is organizational strengthening, it's actually work on capacity building. And this is also part of this. This is what we have been doing through these 3 years. Since year 2001, I guess it was, 2021, we created a group for 4 groups actually. Then we ended up creating just 3 groups. One that was working on digital certificates, DCC. One that was working on digitalizing processes, internal processes, and one that was working on digitalizing or automating laboratory processes and remote calibration processes. These 3 groups has been working since 2021, and they have achieved really good advances. All of them we just met last 2 weeks ago in Mexico, and we actually, I guess some of us were also there. We saw the final presentation of all these groups. There are a lot of really good projects over there. We are supposed to upload the upload all these the posters and the presentations on the same page. Please look at it, because there are some really good projects that we could all use. No matter the size of the lab, we could all use one. And not just that, we could all work together to do the same project in our own labs, because these are projects that are not being done by third parties. These are mainly done by own metrologists from different NMIs, and we could all work together with them and then get the same results in a couple of years or months. And as we just mentioned also before, yes, last year we had the Worldwide Metrology Day, in which we were talking about digitalization. Also last year we had our De Acuerdo magazine talking about digitalization, and we're trying, this year we have to meet, because maybe we're going to stop printing the magazine. We want to maybe transforming this magazine into a digital magazine, so that we get into the digital era also. And one of the things that I also have to mention that I forgot maybe about the digitalization and worldwide and the World Metrology Day is that just a couple of weeks ago, I guess you received information from Mr. Martin Milton, VIPN Director, saying that already World Metrology Day was already under the UN nations, UNESCO in Spanish, and it's been agreed to be a UNESCO Day from next year on. So next year is going to be announced, 2024, May 30, that it is already a UNESCO Day. So this is one more step in terms of a metrology. And also we have some activities related to the other regions that we are working with. And I just want to end over here saying that besides those keynotes that you can read over there, the most important thing for me as SIM president will be two things. First, we have to remember that our core business it is not actually a business, but our core product services, it's metrology, and we should focus always in metrology, but we should also understand, second, that the world is changing. The world already changed. The world went into already a digital era, and most of metrological services are mechanical. We're talking about the old names were the services of mass and weight and masses. That's already in the past. We all started like that, but we have to do everything digital. If we don't, we're gonna die. And it is not a matter if we die as labs, as NMIs. Who cares? The issue is who's gonna be able to actually make sure that measurements are done properly, because that's our core business. Make sure that society, humankind, receive what they need to receive. And the only way to do that is to make sure that all measurements, mechanical ones, human-based ones, and our digital ones, are done properly. So we need to step up, and we need to make sure that little by little, all our labs get into the digital era. We have a big challenge there, because we know the pace that digitalizing is changing is way, way faster than our capability to change, because most of us, we depend on government funds. We know that, and they are not as fast and as much as we should receive. We know that. But that's why we have a huge advantage, and it's regional cooperation. If we think of that, we know little by little, we know we can do the same that Mexico is doing, that Argentina is doing, that US is doing, that Europe is doing, because we have a huge network of laboratories. We just need to work together. With that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the time. And have a wonderful 2 days. And once again, Erica and Nicole, thanks for these guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Arias. Okay. We will now have a presentation from the National Metrology Center, CNAM. CNAM is the National Reference Laboratory for measurements in Mexico. It is responsible for establishing and maintaining national standards, offering meteorological services such as calibration of instruments and standards, certification and development of reference materials, as well as courses which specialize in metrology. CNAM have been leading, as Mr. Arias said, the digital metrology for this digital transformation movement, and they will be our facilitators for the next day and a half with our CARICOM counterparts. Please welcome Mr. Carlos Hernandez, who will tell us a little more about digital transformation.
Thank you very much for this nice introduction. Welcome everyone to this awareness session. This one? Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, so I just want to talk something about deeper about the topics that already Javier talked about, and about digital transformation advances in the region. I think there is, as Javier said, it's very important that all America work together in order to improve our services, in order to move our services, our institutes, to the digital transformation area. But I would like to start defining some specific ideas and specific topics about what digital transformation means. Because, you know, the digital work started a lot of years ago, but the digital transformation idea just started a few years ago. So let me say that when we talk about digitization, is when we digitalize our data. But this is only the first step. This step starts when we start using computers, using internet, using cell phones, because we digitalize our information. But it's not the end of this topic. So the next step is digitalization, when we digitalize our process. And when I say digitalize our process, I don't mean exactly automatization, okay? That is not the point. Okay, of course, if we have our process automated, it's easier move to the digitalization world. But it's not necessary. So sometimes we thought, or we think, that we need machines, we need robots, we need something, automation in our labs to move to the digitalization transformation era. But it's not necessary. There are two different things. Of course, that it helps a lot. If I have automation in my life, it will be easier to move to the digital world, to the digital era. But it's not necessary. So I think that for our countries it's very important to think in that. So I don't need to say to my boss, to my manager, that I need to automate my life to move to the next area. It's not necessary. So, and finally, what is digital transformation? It's the reshaping organization in the digital technology, okay? Reshaping. We need to think different. We don't need to think in the same process that we already have. We need to think in a new way, how to digitalize our process. And when I say digitalize our process, I said all my information is in the digital world. I think that most of you have reviewed the BIPM page, for example, and they are moving to the digital area also. And they mention the FAIR principles. What is the FAIR principles? The FAIR principle is the data is accessible. So I can use the data that the, for example, NMI has but I can access from any part of the world, for example. So any person in the institute must have access to the information. So that's the main important. The data must be accessible, okay? Maybe in the cloud, maybe, I don't know, but need to be accessible, okay? So that's the main point when we think in a digital transformation. We are thinking the information is usable, it's in the format that we need to use it, or we require to use it, but also it's accessible. So that's why I insist that it's not necessary to have automated lab in order to move to the digital transformation. So, okay. So some different terms here that I want to talk. One is metrology for digital transformation. That is Javier was talking. What we need to do in our labs, in our offices, in order to provide metrological services for the digital transformation. So I need to know, for example, when I make a calibration, the result of this calibration, the product of this calibration, is a calibration certificate. So it's a report of the measurement that we made. How can I move to the digital transformation? I said that the information must be available, usable. So one proposal, for example, is using a digital calibration certificate. A digital calibration certificate is a document, electronic document, that we can be read it directly, for example, for a computer, for a system, for any machine. It is not necessary that a person reads and interprets the information. All the machines can read it and interpret the result. So what is the more important steps for, from the metrology for the digital transformation? To produce information that can be read for machine, computers, and other communication systems. But the other point is the digital transformation for metrology. So we can use, or we need to use, all the information about the instrument, about the standards, about the clients, so and using in the laboratories, in the NMIs, to produce better results. So it's, that's why I put this circle, because in sometimes it's metrology for digital transformation, but also there is digital transformation for metrology. So we need to involve in both ways. We need to consider we need to use some technologies like IoT, like cloud services, like blockchains technology in our laboratories if it's necessary. But we need to interact with these technologies also to make our services available for the users and for the world. Okay. What are we doing? Okay, so that's some topics that already mentioned Javier in the presentation. So I want to go a little deeper in this point. We started, for example, in 2017, 2018, where about the DCC. That's where the topic started. And then when, I think, for me, when the big movement about digital metrology starts, we need to rethink some different things. And that's why I start, and I mentioned here. So, like Javier mentioned, in 2019, SIM region started thinking in these topics, and then make different meetings about this topic in different places like Peru, Colombia, and Bolivia, to start talking about SIM is going to work on the digital transformation era. What is the result of this? Okay, the result of this was in 2020, we start to working to make a digital meeting, a virtual meeting about digital transformation. So we produced the first metrology for digital transformation conference. We have participants around the country, but not only of the country, but around the world. There was a virtual event, and we have a lot of, about 300 attendants to this conference from the world. So we have about 25 presentations, 25 papers that we presented about the first jobs or works about the digital transformation in the region. But the most important thing for me in this case is that metrology for digital transformation appears. And that's all the NMIs in the SIM regions start thinking of that. So that's why we create the M4DT website. So what is the purpose of this M4DT website? A place where all the metrological information about digital transformation is contained. We have videos, we have presentation, we have sessions recorded, so you can go in and review anytime that you want. After that, in this idea, we have the M4DT days. The M4DT days are regular meetings that we have, let's say, 1 month or by bi-monthly, where we talk about topics about metrology digital transformation. For example, the last one was the last week, and we talked about artificial intelligence in metrology. So there are different topics that I invite. Maybe more of you knows about this conference, but if not, please, you are invited to participate in this conference because it's for this region, it's for us. It's important. Maybe I'm not going to use artificial intelligence in the next year in my lab, but we need to know what is going on, what is happening around the world. Maybe it comes an idea that I can apply and I can reduce or improve my services for my country, for my clients. Okay, so that is the web page. If you don't have the address, maybe you can take a picture of the QR. In this page, we have a lot of information about the M4DT. I think that is the most important site about digital transformation information for the region, for the SIM region. So you can review all the conferences that we have, all the M4DT days that we have, because the important is we are recording, so you can review anytime that you want. So let's say, okay, I wait. And not it's only for NMIs. Everyone is invited. Your customers, your clients, anyone interested, students, for example, are welcome to visit and to participate because it's an open. Thanks to the technology, the virtual meetings, you can attend anytime, so with no cost. So that is one example of the page that you see. There are the M4DT days, the conference. Also, the TSB project is already in this page. So this page is for all the SIM region. So if you have an event, if you have something that you want to share, a project that you develop, please contact me, and we included this information in the web page so everyone in the region can know what are you doing. Javier talked about, and later I will talk about the CARIMET project on M4DT. We have this meeting 2 weeks ago, so we are preparing the information, the posters, the video that went produced will be uploaded in space, so everybody we can review it, and we can see what's happening on the region. So the another important thing is like Manson said, in 2021, the working group 14 was created on the SIM. And the working group 14 was about metrology for digital transformation. And it's important to know that we have 5 different areas that we are working, with different task forces that we are working. One is digital calibration certificate, so we think that is very important. Also, I show you the names of the contacts. So if you are interested to know more about this topic, you can meet. We meet regularly, so you can join to the meetings and know what we're working about, we're talking about. Very interesting topic is about automation of laboratory processes. We discuss, for example, some technologies in order to make some improvements in the automation of the lab. So you can contact, in this case, Ruben, so they can send the invitation in order to participate in the different meetings. Okay, so that is cloud technologies. So, for example, this includes artificial intelligence and something other projects about how to use the cloud to improve the metrology in the region. Of course, Metrology for Industry 4.0 is a very good also working group, and also the AI projects that my colleague Aldo Garcia is leading up. So the idea is to know something about the agile technologies in order to improve the way that we can do it or work in our projects in a better way, organized way, agile way. So, and finally, like Javier said, and this just a resume, in the CARIMET project we had 3 different areas: digital calibration certificate, lab automation participant, and I am very happy to say that the digital process manager has participants of the Caribbean area. So it was very interesting for us to work, and they have very good ideas in order to improve their processes, how to digitalize their processes in their laboratories to improve all the activities that they have. So this all information will be uploaded in our webpage, so everybody can know it, review it, and comment. So you're welcome to participate, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hernandez. So this brings to an end our official opening ceremony. We will now have a break. After the break, we will continue our awareness sessions with our stakeholders as well as the NMI representatives that are there. So thank you very much. The break is on the outside.
And that's where we come to the end of this outside broadcast at the Fortune Hotel, called by the Dominica Bureau of Standards. And the discussion was really on the SIM CARIMET awareness held at the Fortune Hotel. And so there's a break now, of course, so we'll end at this point. But of course, the program will continue. There's quite a lot to cover throughout the day, and well, the greater part of the day. So this function, according to the schedule, should go on until about lunchtime. So we were happy to bring this live to you, the CARIMET Metrology for Digital Transformation. And earlier on, we had the welcome address presented by Mr. Eliud T. Williams, who is the chairman of the National Standards Council. We also heard from Mr. Javier Arias, and just a short while ago, a presentation by Mr. Carlos Galvan Hernandez from the National Meteorology Center. And very interesting discussion this morning. So right now it's time for break, but after they will go into working sessions as they ensure, of course, that they create greater awareness and chart the path forward for metrology, particularly in Dominica. So it was a pleasure bringing this live to you, DBS Radio, on behalf of our station engineer, Dane Thomas, and my phone, John Baptist Luge. It's back to the Ted Daily Studio, Studio 1.